Hello everybody, welcome back to our modelled writing videos. So today we are going to look at two task 2 questions. Task 2 are the longer essay style questions which you'll have in the writing part of the IELTS exam. And you have 40 minutes to answer this question. And you'll be expected to write a minimum of 250 words, but there is no upper limit. So that's okay. As long as you're hitting the minimum, that's the main thing. Okay, so today we're looking at two different types of questions, two different topics. Actually, it's the same type of question, but two different topics. So this is really useful for you and your IELTS preparation journey. This is definitely a useful way to prepare. We're going to do the plan together, and then we're going to do the write-up as if we were in the exam itself. So if that sounds like something that would be helpful to you, then you can stick around for today's video. Okay, so the first topic is going to look at zoos. Some people believe that animals should not be kept in zoos, while others think that zoos are necessary for animal protection. Discuss both views and give your opinion. So the first thing that jumps out to me is the type of question. Discuss both views and give your opinion. So an opinion question. And if you've seen our videos before, I like to do the opinion in the second paragraph of the main body. So you have our introduction in the first one, then our first main body, then our second main body, which will include our opinion, and then of course our conclusion. So I'm going to show you how to do this in a 4-paragraph structure. You can do this with 5 paragraphs where you present both sides, and then in a third extra paragraph you put your opinion. That's the way you can do this. However, I think a 4-paragraph structure is quite nice for this one. And we're just going to interweave our opinion into the paragraph. Okay, so some people believe that animals should not be kept in zoos, while others think that zoos are necessary for animal protection. Well, what jumps into my mind is the fact that some zoos are taking part in conservation efforts. So I think I'm going to argue that they are necessary. I'm just putting an opinion to remind myself. With animals that are so close to extinction, it's important for zoos to take part. If they are taking part in conservation, then they are necessary. If it's just a zoo that has no sort of part in protecting the animal, they're actually not treating the animals well, they're taking animals from the wild, then of course that is not, we're not going to argue that. But in this case, conservation is important. They can raise money for the animals, for things like park rangers they could fund. So they can raise money for projects outside of the zoo itself. And most animals survive better in captivity. So if they live longer, for example, there's more chance of them breeding, and perhaps this can help with releasing back into the wild eventually. I know that wolves have been reintroduced into Scotland recently. So this is something that can happen. Okay, so the other side then, the first paragraph, animals should not be in zoos. Well, animals should not be used for monetary gain. So we could say should not, they need to stay in the wild A zoo's environment does not compare to the wild environment. Does not compare. And for example, the orcas in SeaWorld, their tank is far smaller than they should be, and they are visibly quite distressed there. Okay, then. So in conclusion, while animals should not be taken from the wild, if a zoo is focused on conserving numbers, this is essential. Something along those lines. Oh, we'll make this a bit bigger. Okay then, so we've got our 2 paragraphs and we've also got our conclusion there. Nice set of notes. This will help us stay focused and on track for the essay, and that is what the examiner is looking for. They're not looking for irrelevant pieces of information or straying from your opinion, for example. So we want to be clear, concise, and make sure that we're answering the question at all times. With that being said then, let's go to the write-up. And we want to start every task 2 and task 1 as well with paraphrasing this sentence here, the statement. Some people believe that animals should not be kept in zoos, while others think that zoos are necessary for animal protection. Okay, so some members in society have the opinion that creatures should not be kept in zoos, should not be confined to captivity. On the other hand, it is believed that zoos are necessary for animal protection. Maybe we could say zoological. So if we're not sure about how to paraphrase, we could just change the word structure. That's a good tip if you're not too sure for a completely different word. This can help with that. So, on the other hand, it is believed that zoological institutions are imperative for maybe conservation efforts. This essay will debate both sides, and I will argue that the latter, so that they're imperative for conservation efforts, I will argue that the latter is vital in increasing species restoring numbers in certain species. Let's read this back and see how it sounds. Some members in society have the opinion that creatures should not be confined to captivity. On the other hand, it is believed that zoological institutions are imperative for conservation efforts. This essay will debate both sides, and I will argue that the latter is vital in restoring numbers in certain species. Okay, brilliant. So we've addressed both. Now let's start with the side that we're not having our opinion with, which is that animals should not be kept in zoos. Okay, so there is no doubt, nice topic sentence, that wildlife in an ideal world should not be restricted to an enclosure, which is like an area, for monetary gain. Um, okay, so that is our overview. That's what we're going to talk about. To take an animal from its natural habitat and to force it behind a glass panel for entertainment purposes is unacceptable in today's modern society. Main reason being to take an animal from its natural habitat and to force it behind a glass panel, for example, for entertainment purposes, is unacceptable in today's modern society. There are a plethora of examples where animals are clearly distressed by this, as the business or as the organizers more often than not maybe as the organizers simply cannot replicate the life, the animal, the creature, animal, the poor, as the organizers simply cannot replicate the life the helpless animal in question would have outside. For example, orcas in SeaWorld visibly show signs of depression. Captured orcas in SeaWorld captured by maybe drone footage or captured on video visibly show signs of depression. This is no surprise when the tank is by no means large enough. Okay, let's read this back and see how it sounds. There is no doubt that wildlife in an ideal world should not be restricted to an enclosure for monetary gain. The main reason being to take an animal from its natural habitat and to force it behind a glass panel for entertainment purposes is unacceptable in today's modern society. There are a plethora of examples where animals are clearly distressed by this, as the organizers cannot replicate the life the helpless animal in question would have outside. For example, orcas in SeaWorld, captured on video, visibly show signs of depression. This is no surprise when the tank is by no means large enough. Maybe, and their life is cruel. The tank is by no means large enough. We'll leave it at that maybe. Okay, I think that's good. So we've got that one side. Now we can go into talking about our opinion and why it is necessary. So there, maybe we could say cruelty towards other species is undeniably wrong. Um, Cruelty towards other species is undeniably wrong. However, when a zoo is or maybe has protective values for the inhabitants, this is clearly essential for the future of the population. Okay, so we can just expand this a bit more. Humans have reduced numbers of many animals worldwide. So it is our responsibility to try and restore our natural world, even if this means utilizing captivity. Okay, so that is our main point. Okay. Let's go into what zoos can do to help. So there are many ways in which business in which zoos can help the main one being they can raise money which could go towards protection schemes such as financing park rangers to spot poachers. So that's something that will actively help populations. They're spot poachers looking for tigers. Let's talk about the breeding programs. So there are also breeding programs which are more successful in maybe we could say more human environments. Pandas are notoriously, or pandas, maybe panda numbers are increasing this way when this is combined with releasing with 1 day releasing these animals into the wild, like wolves that are now in Scotland. This can dramatically improve this, the chances of future thriving in the wild, in the outdoors, or thriving without supervision. Let's read this back. It's a bit of a bigger paragraph, this one. Cruelty towards other species is undeniably wrong. However, when a zoo has protective values for the inhabitants, this is clearly essential for the future of the population. Humans have reduced numbers of many animals worldwide, so it is our responsibility to try and restore our natural world, even if it means utilizing captivity. There are many ways in which zoos can help, the main one being that they can raise money which could go towards protection schemes, such as financing park rangers to spot poachers looking for tigers. There are also breeding programs which are more successful in human environments. Maybe we could say under supervision and then change supervision later. Panda numbers are increasing this way. When this is combined with 1 day releasing these animals into the wild, maybe we could say when this is combined with releasing programs or initiatives like wolves that are now in Scotland, this can dramatically improve the chances of thriving in nature. This can dramatically improve the chances of growing numbers. Okay, so I think all of these examples show the ways in which animals are protected and helped back into the wild. Maybe we could say there are many ways in which zoos can protect. Okay. They can raise money for various schemes, such as financing park rangers to spot poachers. Okay, I think that's good. Let's tie this all together in a summary, and it is our opinion, so we'll restate that. Okay, in summary, while there is no excuse to take or to change a free animals environment to a enclosed one, this This is rare, and most zoos are focused and work together to improve the chances for all types of nature to flourish. In summary, while there is no excuse to change a free animal's environment to an enclosed one, this is rare and um, it can be seen that most zoos are focused and work together to improve the chances for all types of nature to flourish. This is critical in our for the future of our world. Okay, let's see how many words this is. Okay, so this one came to 332 words. So over the 250 minimum there, but I think quite a realistic amount. We've got our 2 paragraphs, and of course we've got our introduction and our conclusion there. So you can follow this along at home and see what examples you would use, what your thoughts were. That would be great. Okay, so now we have got the same type of question, just a different topic. So many people believe that owning a car is essential for a comfortable life, while others argue that it is not necessary. Discuss both views and give your opinion. All right, so we've got different things going on here, but it's the same question. Discuss both views and give your opinion. So we're going to approach it like we did the last question. So let's have a think then. What are our thoughts on this one? Many people believe that owning a car is essential for a comfortable life, while others believe it is not, or argue that it is not necessary. Well, I think I'm going to argue that it is not necessary for the sake of this essay. And just a small point, your personal opinion doesn't have to match with the essay. So I always say to write about what's easiest for you, what you can think, do the side that you have examples for, that you can elaborate and expand on, not necessarily what you might believe yourself. So that's a small point there. Okay, what are we thinking? So not necessary for the opinion, and then we're looking at essential for the other side. Okay, so let's start with the other side. The first thing that comes to mind is people in the countryside. It might be essential more than cities. It is more convenient. We can say that. You can take as many stops as you like. You can pick up food. You can do anything that you want because it's your car. In this case, you're owning a car, so it's yours. More reliable than public transport because it might not be delayed, or it's you, so you can leave whenever you want. You're reliable. Okay, so then when we're thinking about our other side that is not necessary, we can think about how more often than not there are public transport options, which are sometimes quicker, a lot of times cheaper. So this is a valid option, which makes driving, perhaps not owning a car, perhaps not necessary. If you want to maybe have that comfort, Without owning a car, you could share lifts if that's possible to you. So there are alternatives. Um, and traffic problems are going to affect everyone, not just public transport, but whether you have a car or not. If there's been a crash on the road, this is inevitably going to affect you. Okay, so while a car, in our conclusion, while a car can be useful, it is not completely necessary or vital for a comfortable life. And in the essay, of course, we'll elaborate and draw from examples from the write-up there. Okay, so we have our 2 paragraphs, and we're going to, like we just did in the last one, we're going to weave our opinion into the second paragraph here. And then, of course, we'll restate it in the conclusion. Okay, I think it's time for the write-up. So, as always, we need to paraphrase this statement here. Many people believe that owning a car is essential for a comfortable life, while others argue that it is not necessary. Okay, so we could say on one hand, there is a point of view that argues being responsible for a vehicle is critical in a is critical for a comfortable life, convenience, a maybe leisurable. I'm always checking for a leisurely comfortable leisurely existence, while others argue that it is not necessary, whereas the other side believes it is pointless, or it is a believes this situation or believes there are other ways to create there are other ways one can create uh, there are other ways to make life a little easier. On one hand, there is a point of view that argues being responsible for a vehicle is critical for a leisurely existence, whereas the other side believes there are other ways to make life a little easier. Makes daily tasks a little. I'm not sure about this part. Whereas the other side believes this is not necessary, important. Maybe we can do that. I think simpler is better here. Okay, believes this is not important. In this essay, we're just laying out what we're going to do. I will demonstrate both sides and ultimately agree that Having a car is not the number one priority in terms of if one is aiming for a more if one is aiming for convenience, maybe. In this essay, I will demonstrate both sides and ultimately agree that having a car is not the number one priority if one is aiming for convenience. Okay, so let's now, I think that's okay, bit longer, but every introduction is going to be different. Let's now work on the other side, that the one that we're not agreeing with, that a car is essential for a comfortable life. So we can say on the surface, a passenger vehicle would seem like the goal in order to make daily tasks easier and more pleasurable. The main reason being that you, as the owner, has complete autonomy when you when you want to make a journey. So you can choose, you can get in the car any time of day and go and drive. In this case, it is quick, reliable to an extent, or maybe reliable if there are no problems. And the journey itself is up to you. Up to you. Let's do a few questions here. I think that would be nice. Do you want to take a break? Or even make a pit stop? This is all acceptable in your own motor car. You can maybe say anything goes. Okay, so let's have a think. So that's the main argument that we're going for. Let's say how it's direct as well. So additionally, as one only has to think about oneself, or maybe a few passengers, the journey is more or less direct, saving time usually, and saving time and petrol. Okay, I think I'll leave it there. We'll read it back and see how we feel. On the surface, a passenger vehicle would seem like the goal in order to make daily tasks easier and more pleasurable. The main reason being that you, as the owner, really important to edit, have complete autonomy with when you want to make a journey. In this case, it is quick, reliable. If there are no problems with the car, maybe with the car, and the journey itself is up to you. Do you want to take a break or even make a pit stop? This is all acceptable in your own motor car, anything goes. Additionally, as one only has to think about oneself or maybe a few passengers, the journey is more or less direct, saving time and petrol. Okay, so that is one side of the argument. Now let's think about our opinion. And the main point is going to be that public transport is really good in most places. Oh, actually, we could mention the countryside. We forgot to say that. This is particularly important in the countryside, for example, where public transport can be next to none. Okay, perfect. So, even though a car is, of course, comfortable, it does not make the owner immune to the same problems on the road, and therefore it is clearly not the route to an easy life. Okay. Congestion, traffic problems, traffic issues, congestion, they're basically the same thing. Accidents, weather problems, amongst many others, are maybe amongst many others, do not discriminate. If you are in a car, bus, car, coach or bus, you will be affected. Okay, so we're all in the same boat in that sense. Especially, we can mention about being in a city maybe, especially in contrast, if you live in a city, these problems are exemplified, which means even more. These problems are by nature exemplified. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So you're not immune, and actually other ways are more comfortable, perhaps. Additionally, other forms of travel are arguably more arguably more successful in terms of time and money. For example, the London Underground underground um, would, for example, there is no argument that the London Underground would take you from one side of the city to another quicker and with less expense than a car. This is in many ways more comfortable. Um, okay, so let's just tie it all together and say, if by comfort you're not looking for a nice, seat, if comfort to you means if comfort to you means more time to do the activities you enjoy and more money to thrive, then it is clear that a vehicle will not aid in this. Okay, let's just read this back and see how it's sounding. Even though a car is, of course, comfortable, maybe we can say in terms of seating, it does not make the owner immune to the same problems on the road, and therefore it is clearly not the route to an easy life. Congestion, accidents, weather problems, amongst many others, do not discriminate. If you are in a car, let's do a nice full stop. If you are in a car, coach, or bus, you will be affected. Especially in contrast, if you live in a city, these problems are exemplified. Additionally, other forms of travel are arguably more successful in terms of time and money. For example, there is no argument that the London Underground would take you from one side of the city to another quicker and with less expense than a car. We can maybe make this a bit more maybe the London Underground is more suitable than a car in the city. This is in many ways more comfortable. Let's maybe remove that. If comfort to you means more time to do the activities you enjoy and more money to thrive, not wasting it on car insurance, then it is clear that a vehicle will not aid in this. Maybe we could say it is clear you do not have to purchase an automobile. Okay, let's just wrap this up in a conclusion then. So, in conclusion, one side does maybe the one side does have nice seats and the ability to have breaks. However, this is not always conducive conducive to comfort. This is a broad term, and in many ways, a car is not ideal as it is exposed to traffic problems, which trains are not, and um, exposed to traffic problems and are a drain on resources. In conclusion, the one side does not have nice. The one side does have nice seats. One argument does put forward nice seats and the ability to have breaks. However, this is not always conducive to comfort. This is a broad term, and in many ways, a car is not ideal as it is exposed to traffic problems and are a drain on resources, making it unnecessary. Let's just link it back to the question. Okay, this is a bit of a longer essay here. Let's see how many words we have. Okay, so this is a slightly longer essay. This comes to 383 words to my calculations. So yes, a bit longer, but you can see how we've approached it nevertheless. We've tied in our opinion to our second paragraph here. And you're welcome. You would probably, if you're following along at home, then you'd know how you can restructure this to make it a bit smaller if you wanted to, but at least you've seen how we've tackled this question today. All right, so those were two of the same types of questions. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Those are quite common types of questions, so really good to practice them today. Do let us know if you've got any questions or comments. We really like to hear from you. And I hope today's been helpful. That's the most important thing. So, thank you for coming along, and we'll see you in the next video.